Um, we'd like to show you a little, Mauricio Lima, who is from the New York Times, was supposed to be here, but his flight was canceled. And he and his editor apologize that he's not around. But let me just show you quickly some of the pictures. So Mauricio belongs to a team of photographers from the New York Times who chronicled what began as a trickle of refugees from war-torn Syria that swelled into an exodus of biblical proportions. They scrambled across beaches, marched through fields, and clambered over barbed wire as they followed the migrants step by step through Europe. Their searing, intimate images capture the scale and breadth of Europe's migration crisis, as well as the commonplace, sometimes horrific travails of individuals lost in a mass of humanity on the move. Yannis, the New York Times won breaking news, the Pulitzer for breaking news photography, together with a team from Reuters. So Yannis Behrakis is here with us today. Yannis, I don't know which picture starts, which ones, because is this your picture? No.
No, these are...
Which is the next one? Is this the one? No.
No, these are not.
I'm sorry. These are all, okay, so this next one.
Okay.
Yes. So, sorry about that. They were nice pictures. Last year, nearly 1 million Syrians fled to Turkey, many of them later crossing out on inflatable boats for the Mediterranean crossing into Greece. Theirs was an epic journey to escape war. It's possible to reach Europe through North Africa and Italy, but the route via Turkey and Greece is safer than the desert and involves a shorter sea crossing, which is why thousands of families made the trek last year. Along the way, a team of Reuters photographers working in relay captured and transmitted their incredible stories. Traditionally, refugees are the subject of pity. The Reuters images used in newspapers and on websites around the world conveyed the people's courage, their dignity, hope, and determination. I'd like to invite Yannis Baracus of the Reuters team to show his pictures to us. I can give you the clicker if you want. Yes. Wherever you feel most comfortable.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, Yannis. We're in New York time.
All right. Jet lag. I'm still in another continent. Anyway, first of all, I just want to say that I'm very honored to be in the same panel with such talented and dedicated journalists. And dedication is a very important thing in our job. So let me just show you some of my pictures. I was part of the team, and I worked a lot in Greece, in the Greek islands and North Greece, following the refugees and the migrants. Let me just show you some of the pictures. So this picture is taken on August in the island of Kos, and it's very early in the morning. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun rises, so it's not the moon or the sunset, because a lot of people asking. And one of these boats with refugees, I guess, ran out of fuel, and it was drifting. But it was a beautiful morning, and there was no immediate danger. But anyway, I called, and a couple of other colleagues called the Coast Guard, and soon after this picture was taken, the Coast Guard came and helped these people. And go next one. Okay, here is on the island of Lesbos. It's one of the big rafts with about 70 people. These people are Afghans, usually from the Hazara tribe, and they arrive on the beach. Here is a father, is a Syrian father. He holds on his 2 children, and usually, you know how when our instinct, when we are about to fall, we put our hands to protect ourselves. Look at this guy. He didn't let his children So for me, it's, you know, I learned a lot of lessons from working with the refugees. And this lady is a 2 times refugee. Her name is Amoun. She's Palestinian. She used to live in, she was a Palestinian refugee in Lebanon. And she was sitting on the, you can see Turkey, and it's like 5-6 miles. And this is the island of Kos. So she came out with some other refugees, and I was kind of stunned by her calmness. And it was kind of a, you know, a beautiful scene, because the sun was just coming up, and the sun had some, you know, put some light on her face, and she was so calm. And I was watching her. Then I shot some pictures. I didn't want to ruin the calmness and the beauty of the moment. And then I realized, I went near her and I want to talk to her for my caption, you know, and get some information. Then I realized that she's blind. And it was an amazing moment, and it was an amazing experience. And I touched her hand, and we spoke a little bit, some English and some Arabic, and she was so happy to be there and everything. It was a nice moment. This guy is an Afghan refugee, and he is in a bus. He just arrived in Piraeus, which is the port of Athens. And for the first time in his life, you know, Afghanistan is landlocked. Most of the people, they've never seen sea, or they don't know that the sea is salty. It's amazing. And so anyway, he arrived there, and he's in a bus on his way up north. And for the first time, he can see the cranes and all these things in a big port. And this is a picture up in the north at the Greek-Macedonian border, where the Macedonian army and police has blocked the way at some point. This is September 10, 2015, and there's some refugees from different, you know, from Pakistan and Syria and Afghanistan. They are begging the soldiers to let them pass. And this is the same day, also the same area. You see, you know, it's like muddy, and it had been raining for like 2-3 days. And if you look at the family in the middle, it was very dramatic. But you know, we were there. We took the pictures. A lot of the soldiers, they didn't want us to take pictures. They didn't want me to take pictures. I argued with them. I said, "You have to arrest me, but I don't think it's a good idea, because you know, you're gonna lose, because you know, other people are here. They're gonna see you. So you try to hide. You feel you do something wrong." I guess I persuade them to let me take pictures. Easy. And this is one of my favorite picture. It's a father with his daughter on his way to the border. It's a Syrian father. He was going to Germany, and you know, I would love to be this father. I think every child would love to have a father like this. And it also, by the way, I think this picture proves that they are superheroes after all, right? Look at him. He doesn't wear the red cape, but he has a black plastic cape made out of garbage, plastic garbage, you know. And, you know, it's unconditional love. For me, it represents the universal father and the unconditional love of father to daughter. It's very touching. Also, I have a daughter, like 9.5 years old. And anyway, I think that was my last picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Yannis.
Ask me some questions.
Thank you. Yannis, I'd like to ask you about the logistics involved in covering this story. The logistical issues involved in covering this story. There were hundreds of thousands of civilians fleeing the war and devastation in the Middle East. You have a team of photographers. I mean, what did it take to do this?
It took dedication. It took a lot of dedication, a lot of time. I spent over 90 days. I counted 90 days on the field next to the refugees, either up north at the border or at the Greek islands, or in the boats going up and down the Greek islands. And, you know, it took a lot of time on the field and long working hours. I'm not complaining. I love what I'm doing. But, you know, I'm sure, you know, the other winners know what I mean by dedication but that's the easy part. You know, I think the most difficult part is the emotional impact.
Tell us about that. I mean, your pictures are beautiful. I mean, they.
Well, you know, I always say misery is photogenic, which is.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's a fact. It's a fact, and I don't want to hide behind words. But
Were you trying to make the pictures beautiful?
I'm trying to make pictures strong in order, you know, to pass the message. Because if you have a very simple, say, plain pictures, you know, somebody who is a guy with a camera, and he can take pictures. Everybody can take pictures. It's not that big deal, by the way. But, you know, if you can, what I say is I photograph with the eyes of my heart. So I'm trying to put, you know, to make the pictures interesting, because what I want to do is, you know, give out there the message. So when you have the paper and it has the picture and you have, I have you looking at the picture, you open the paper and you see the picture is boring, it's nothing, it has no message, it doesn't give you any emotions, you're going to turn the page. So I don't want this. So, you know, when I take pictures, I'm trying to make the pictures look interesting without any, but by just, you know, doing that, you know, click the right time and from the right angle, and you know, in order to pass the message. I don't know if you call this beauty. Why not?
What story were you trying to tell through your pictures?
Well, you know, I've been covering wars and stories that produce refugees for over almost 30 years. I'm not as young as you think. But, so...
You're not as young as you look, no. Definitely not.
So, you know, the message is that there are all these... Yeah, I'll tell you what the message is. The message is that we are all refugees and migrants. If you look behind in your family, you find somebody who tried to go somewhere and find a better life, somebody who fled the war, somebody who fled persecution. Look at Afghanistan, look at Burma, look at Albania, they're all over, look at Mexico. They're all over. I'm sure if you look deep inside you, or not that deep maybe, you'll find I have refugee blood. So for me, it's important to understand that, you know, there are refugees and migrants out there, and we, you know, we should. My mission is to tell you the story, and then you decide what you want to do. And my mission is to make sure that nobody can say, I didn't know. Okay, so I'm out there, I dedicate myself, my colleagues the same, you guys the same, we're there, we tell them the story. And you know, if you work for Reuters, we have over 1 billion, or AP, you know, the big agencies, you have 1 billion people reading your story. So basically, you know, you tell the world what is happening. So then, you know, then you can act, or you can turn your back. But nobody can say, I didn't know. That's my mission, that's what I'm trying to do.
The refugee crisis was one where the images, in a way, made a lot more impact probably than the text. You know, the young boy the young Turkish boy washed ashore in was it Greece? Was the sort of in Turkey was the iconic image of the refugee crisis. What role do you think photographers have in, you know, in this conversation about immigration, refugees, our responsibility to assuage the misery of others?
Well, you know, I mean, photography is an international language. And the impact of when you have pictures that are strong and have carry messages are easily readable by. You don't need to read. You don't need to speak English or any language. I mean, myself, I love writing and doing the reports. And I always try to put some extra information in my captions because the words give value to the pictures, and our pictures give extra value to your text. So, I'm trying to do both. And in Reuters, we do a lot of multimedia, and in our world with the new platforms and the web, it's important to have pictures, text, and video. And I love to do multimedia and work with good colleagues. But as I said, pictures have an impact because you don't have to read and I'm half blind. So I always have to put my glasses to read. So it's an easy way to pass messages, and I think very important. And if you do your job ethically, as we should, then you have a winner.
Yannis, my last question to you. You talked about the emotional toll this assignment took on you. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what how you took care of yourself during that period?
Yeah, well, the emotional impact, can be devastating. I've seen, friends and colleagues having serious problems. In my case, with covering this story, I remember at some point, after covering the story for basically on and off for 10 months, I had this horrific nightmare. One day, I saw my daughter getting drowned in the sea. And then the next day, I heard my wife screaming in my room. And I thought she's there, but she wasn't. I woke up and I was looking for my wife, and I said, okay, this is getting out of hand. And, also, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the guilt we feel because when we start doing something, we think that this will change the world and will make the world a better place. And, a lot of us, I'm inspired by a movie that, people, it was a movie, it's called Under Fire, and it's about Nicaragua, and it's a true story about, a journalist and photographer. So when I saw this movie where the photographer took pictures of the assassination of the journalist, and this way, when the pictures were printed, the dictator Somoza had to go, and democracy prevailed, and the world became a better place. And I went out of the cinema and said, "This is what I want to do in life." And I'm sure you all understand this, and we all have our, visions and our dreams about changing the world. And you said things about this. You said you want to make people cry and feel guilty, and right? This is what you said. No? I mean, I love to make people feel guilty because then you act, and so anyway,
How did you take care of yourself?
I think. Well, I'm here and I talk about this. That's a good way. So I said I'm not hiding. I don't. There's no reason to hide. So, I had all these nightmares, all of this. At some point, I had to say, I have to stop. And I took some time off. It happened to me before, and I know a lot of people. So, that's an important issue for journalists, and especially, talking to an audience with a lot of young people who want to become journalists. So, yeah, I call you to follow your dream, but you have to know that the dream sometimes is wrapped in a nightmare. So, but...
I don't think you should emphasize that too much to this audience.
No, it's true, but it doesn't stop us, right? I mean, we all have, issues and all this, and but I think we all who are dedicated. So
So I'd like to invite